Today, we're diving into a really fascinating and honestly a kind of strange situation. On one hand, you hear about India as this booming global economic powerhouse, but at the same time, a whole lot of its wealthiest people are packing their bags and leaving. So, what's really going on? All right, so first let's look at the good news, because it's pretty spectacular. For the 2023-24 fiscal year, India's GDP shot up by a staggering 8.2%. That makes it, and this is no exaggeration, the fastest growing major economy on the planet. The headlines are fantastic, the numbers are amazing, but that's not the whole picture. Because while all that amazing growth was happening, so was this. In 2023 alone, an estimated 6,500 millionaires were expected to leave India. Let that sink in. That's the second highest number of wealthy individuals leaving a country in the entire world. And that lands us right on the core question we're tackling in this explainer. If India is supposedly the land of opportunity, why are the very people who build businesses, create jobs, and generate wealth deciding to head for the exit? It's a huge paradox, and to get it, we've got to look way beyond those headline numbers. So what's actually causing this exodus? Well, it's not just one thing. It's a whole bunch of powerful push factors. These fundamental issues that are making life abroad look more and more appealing. Let's kick things off with a big one, taxes. Now, India has made its corporate taxes more competitive, which is great. But for individuals, especially high earners, the personal income and capital gains taxes can be really high. And honestly, it's not just the rate itself, it's the sheer complexity of it all that's a massive headache for people. And the difference is just, wow, look at this. In India, if you're a top earner, your effective tax rate can creep up to almost 43%. Now compare that to places people are moving to, like Portugal, which has special tax deals, or the UAE, where personal income tax is literally zero. You can see how the math starts to look pretty convincing, right? But look, this isn't just about spreadsheets and saving money. For a lot of families, it really boils down to a fundamental search for a better quality of life. We're talking about the essentials, the things that matter day to day. Breathing cleaner air, having access to great healthcare, and finding top-tier schools for their kids. And when you see the stats, it really hits home. I mean, when 39 of the world's 50 most polluted cities are in your home country, that's a tough reality to live with every day. Then you add in the fact that public spending on crucial things like healthcare and education is super low, and you start to understand why many wealthy families just decide to opt out. Just to really drive that healthcare point home, India spends a little over 2% of its GDP on public health. The average for the OECD countries, the world's most developed economies, is 9%. That's a gigantic gap in the social safety net, and it's a gap that, if you have the means, you can just decide to bypass by moving. Okay, the third big push factor is the legal system. For anyone running a business or making investments, two things are absolutely critical: speed and predictability. You need to know the rules of the game are stable. But a system that's slow and uncertain, well, it introduces a level of risk that many just aren't willing to put up with anymore. And get a load of this number. There are over 52 million cases currently pending in Indian courts. 52 million? A simple civil lawsuit can drag on for over a decade. Imagine trying to run a business when enforcing a contract or settling a dispute could take that long. It just grinds everything to a halt. So all these individual choices, they're starting to add up to a much bigger national issue. For decades, we've heard about India's brain drain, losing its best and brightest. But what we're witnessing now is something else, maybe an evolution of that, a full-on wealth drain. And this is exactly what we mean by wealth drain. It's not just that people are leaving, it's that their capital, their investment money, and their job-creating companies, they're all leaving too. And that has a real, tangible effect on the economy they leave behind. The numbers here are just mind-boggling. In a single fiscal year, wealthy Indians sent over $27 billion out of the country through a program for overseas investment. That was a 38% jump from the year before. That's capital that could have been building Indian factories or funding Indian startups. So where's everyone going? Well, you can see a pretty clear pattern. They're heading to places that solve the very problems they're running from. To the UAE for its zero tax policy, to Singapore for its incredible efficiency and governance, and to places like Australia, Canada, and the US for their stable legal systems and great quality of life. And then there's this other, deeper issue that's kind of bubbling under the surface. India's incredible growth just hasn't been shared equally. And that widening gap between the haves and the have-nots creates this feeling of instability that even the people at the very top want to get away from. I mean, just look at this breakdown of the national income. The top 1% of the population holds 22% of it. Meanwhile, the entire bottom 50%, the bottom half of the country, holds just 13%. That kind of extreme imbalance can create social tension and a really unpredictable environment for everyone. So when you start putting all these pieces together, the complex taxes, the worries about quality of life, a legal system that's totally backlogged, and this deep inequality, it really makes you rethink what that headline economic growth number truly means. And maybe that's the real takeaway here. Because at the end of the day, a high GDP figure can't hide polluted air, underfunded schools, or courts that are clogged for years. When a country's own wealth creators are leaving, it suggests that real, lasting progress has to be about more than just numbers. It has to be about trust, opportunity, and a decent quality of life for all. So that leaves us with this final question to think about. Is this giant wave of millionaires leaving just a bunch of individual personal choices? Or is it maybe a canary in the coal mine, a national warning sign that the very foundations of India's growth story need some serious attention?